Okay, so this next one, as you can see from the title, explores how we can better understand intergroup and intra-group conflict through these monkeys. And we love in psychology to look at monkeys as a way to kind of see what's going on. So, kind of standard. The question is, what is the purpose and value of male intra-group aggression and grooming in a group of these monkeys? I'm going to say Vervet monkeys. I have no idea if that's correct. So if you know, you can correct me. The methods they used these monkeys and explored and examined their behavior over a period of 2 years and 1 month. They studied 22 adult male and 36 adult female monkeys, which were broken down into 4 groups. They studied over 11,000 hours of these monkeys' group behaviors and over 400 intergroup encounters. The main points they evaluated within these groups were intergroup fights where males were injured, which monkeys were trying to instigate an intergroup conflict. So basically, if there was one monkey who was like continuously, beating on the other, kind of making a note of that. When males were injured, which monkeys might have offspring to protect, which might motivate them to either get involved in the conflict or not get involved at all. And then again, how males interacted within the intergroup kind of community. The authors took all of this data and collected it and analyzed it. And yeah, if you want to go to the next slide. So they conducted a bunch of analyses and tests and things like that. And the results were that over 236 intergroup fights occurred, and that male intragroup aggression was shown to occur 41 times to various parties. So another adult male, an adult female, a younger monkey, or a combination of the two. And we can infer from these results that there is a clear correlation between how humans might interact. So what might motivate a human to get involved or not get involved in a conflict. If we go back to the next, or we think about the last slide, and what might motivate a monkey to get in a fight or not get in a fight, if they have offspring to protect territory, if they're younger, if they're older, if they're healthier, if they're injured, those things might motivate a monkey, or, we can apply that to a person to get involved in a conflict or not. And as it says, conflicts tend to be need-based. And so there might be conflicts of interest within our in-groups that might motivate humans to engage in conflict. And there are many examples of this where people have agreed with a war or fight and others didn't. We can look at the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has to do with territory and space and who has the right to claim that land. And when you have conflicts, and that's not an intergroup conflict in this sense, because you have one group and another group, but conflicts tend to be need-based, and we can see that around the world. So yeah, I'll open this up to discussion.
I'm reading the results real fast. So it says it was shown that rarely did male intragroup aggression, so within group fighting, occur in an effort to protect potential mates, but it did occur 76% of the time toward the intergroup individuals who were potentially instigating an intergroup fight. Oh, that's interesting. I was successful in often preventing those individuals from acting out again. So just to recap that. So 70%, if I'm reading that right, 76% of the time that in-group fighting happened between males, it was to what it seems like, and I didn't read the study because I'm just reading the summary here, but what it seems like is what it's saying, that you've got this one group of monkeys, right? So that's the in-group, and certain of those monkeys start fights with the out group. So that they're the instigators of the intergroup fighting, and it's what it says is 76% of the time that aggression occurred within the group. So towards intra-group members, it was towards one of those instigators that started fights with the out group. So it was almost like, hey, if you're going to start fights with that other group, I'm going to start being aggressive towards you to put you in check, and that might actually get you to stop being such an instigator towards the out group. At least that's how I'm reading the summary. Was successful in often preventing those individuals from acting out again. Okay, so it was like keeping group members in check from doing that. So yeah, so that's interesting.
I mean, yeah, but I guess that sort of makes sense, right? I mean, you don't want to exacerbate a conflict with another group in a workplace, another department. So if you feel somebody else in your department starting that, you're gonna say, slap them on, no, you know, and like start.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this study is called "Male Monkeys Use Punishment and Coercion to De-Escalate Costly Intergroup Fights." So they're using punishment of their own in-group members to get them to stop making trouble with the out-group.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like when you know, sometimes they say like in peace studies, especially talking about international peace, when is it appropriate for violence, right? And is it ever?
Yeah.
And I feel like this study is kind of saying that yes, it is in certain.
Yeah, well, it's like, well, I mean, or just this is you know, some line of evolutionary ancestors, not ancestors, but you know, co-evolved primates are acting in some way that might be similar to us.
Are you all familiar with the story of Lysistrata? This is reverse Lysistrata. Basically, there were factions that were at war with each other, male factions that were at war with each other, but the women in all the groups decided to abstain from sex in order to punish their spouses. And this is like the reverse of, it's the same gender, it's a gender reversal of that story is what it seems.
Yeah.
What I also found interesting about this is, and it's also in the summary that it's not on the PowerPoint here, but it's that the males who were more likely to act aggressively were the ones with offspring, so the ones with baby monkeys, and it makes me think of like almost like it makes me think of almost future planning. Like we're not going to get into this intergroup conflict because it's going to make it be a problem for. And I'm sure that's not like an actual part of it. That's what it makes me think of on like the human side of things. It's like we don't want to get into this intergroup conflict. It's gonna have problems later down the line. And so it was interesting to me that maybe there's some evolutionary tie there, and that's a part of it.
Well, that's a really good point. It's like not only like future planning, but acknowledging all of the potential stakeholders, like or who would be affected by it if we did that. So, yeah, that's a.
And there's got to be some utility to. I mean, it's in humans. I don't know about in this group, but in monkeys, but in humans, there's some utility to not only punishing members of our in-group who go out and start fights on behalf of the group, but also making those punishments very conspicuous to the out-group. Like, hey, we know he went and instigated this. We're going to punish him, right? Yeah. So you know it wasn't the whole group, and you don't attack us or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like when the mafia has to take care of one of their own because that one did something bad to the other mafia group or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of like children and like, you know, neighborhood kids. Like if your child is fighting with another neighborhood child, you know, across the street, the parent is going to penalize the child in some way, right?
Right.
If you're the parent of the kid who got like bullied or something, you go over and you see the parent of the bully doesn't do anything to punish their kid. That's going to make you real pissed off at the parent, right? Like, how are you not disciplining your kid for doing something to my
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. So how can we learn from this in the workplace? So let's say we're departments, you know, so departments are doing something and a department head notices one of the people in his group instigating something with another group. That department head should take action to discipline his own group member so that the other department head can see this and witness that or something like that, maybe.
And then it doesn't become a company-wide conflict.
Right.
Because more people being involved, like as Noah pointed out, there's going to be now more parties involved in this conflict if we don't stop it from within this department.
Totally. And how many times have you seen a faction over here with a boss and a faction over here with a boss? And everybody on this side goes, none of them will get in trouble because that person's protecting them. And the other side says the same thing. None of them will get in trouble because that guy's protecting them. So when the bosses are not aligned and they protect themselves, they don't punish the instigators, then it creates these big factions.
It makes me also think of almost public relations and accountability on like a national big and company-wide scale. If you have like, I think of like, I don't remember what bank, but you know, or any company that messes up to some degree, and the public recognizes that, and they see that, you know, they're like, we're going to boycott this company because we're not going to do it. And the way that the company responds back is by firing the person that or the CEO will resign or whatever. And they show that like, look, we're going to minimize this intergroup conflict between us and society and try to hopefully get us back on good terms.
Yeah, there's so many examples that say just public, you know, public justice, public discipline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.